guys, it's Meg. What's up? What's poppin'? Welcome back to the podcast. Some of us scroll through social media and see a certain aesthetic. So let's talk about Witchery, especially because we did a 2025 Pinterest trend prediction episode. Was it season 1 of this season? Season 11, episode 3. And one of the Pinterest trend predictions for this year is they said, "See Witchery." And this is a direct quote from Pinterest predictions. It says, "You're in your sea witch era, and it's so much more than seashells and starfish." They said there was going to be a lot of siren makeup, wet wavy hair, and moody mermaid manicures. Now what's crazy is I'm either ahead of the trend or Pinterest is just wrong and we're not going to see this trend, because when I was trying to search this trend up, there was nothing. Literally, I found the articles I found were just quoting the 2025 Pinterest trend. They weren't giving their interpretation of it, but I did find one source. It is Country and Town House, and the article is called "We're Entering Our Sea Witch Era in 2025." And they did quote Pinterest, but they also said we're going to be seeing a moody, oceanic hue and details to create a siren makeup look. It said this is all about channeling your inner sultry siren with wet wavy hair, mermaid-inspired manicures that are like seashell patterns or scaly textures. They gave a makeup look. So this is how to do makeup according to their website. For your base, you want an illuminating powder. For your contour, you want to be light and cool-toned bronzer, and you're highlighting the high points of your face. For blush, you want soft pink, coral, or peach with a slight shimmer. For your eyes, this is the focal point. They said eyeshadow and ocean hues, so that's like blues, greens, and purples. And they said maybe even use metallic or glitter eyeliner for a mystical look. And you want to use volumizing mascara. For lips, it said a dark, rich shade like deep plum or berry. And then you want to finish off your whole entire look with a dewy spray. And that is all I found on Sea Witchery, which is sad because I'm recording it. I'm at 3 minutes in by the time I edit out all my probably mispronounced words and weird mouth noises. We're probably going to be down to 2 minutes. And that's not a fun podcast. And here on Hey Guys Meg, I'm open transparency. I let you know when I'm using AI and when I'm not using AI. My next 2 sources are the Google AI. And I said 2 because I learned, based off what I typed in the little search bar, gave me different results. So this version of Google AI, I had typed in "Sea Witchery trend." That was it. No question mark, no nothing, not a full sentence, just "Sea Witchery trend." And they said, and I quote, that this is a style and aesthetic that blends coastal mysticism with a darker elemental edge, often associated with mythical features like sirens, sea goddesses, and selkies. Characterized by wet look hair, mermaid-inspired manicures, and sultry, siren-esque makeup, embraces a raw, weathered beauty, using textured metals, moonstones, and antique charms to evoke the ocean's mysterious and powerful nature. I didn't write down what a selkie is, but I want Editing Meg to come in because why do I feel like they're more of an urban legend type thing? Hey, what's up? It's Editing Meg. According to Google, a selkie is a mythological creature that can shapeshift between a seal and human form by removing or putting on their seal skin. They are mostly found in Celtic and Norse folklore, particularly in Scotland and Ireland, and they are often depicted as beautiful and attractive, and their stories often involve a romance and tragedy. Thank you for that. So this form of AI, when we search that Sea Witchery trend, it said the key elements are coastal mysticism. Inspiration comes from oceanic folklore and ancient spiritual practices, so elements of sea magic and witchcraft. Which, not to skirt, but to skirt. I actually had a couple of spaces left for the podcast and I didn't know what to talk about. And I think we're going to do ocean folklore for summer because that seems so cool. And why have I never done folklore based off the seasons? They also said that another key element is sultry siren makeup, which is just luminous skin, ocean-inspired eyeshadow. They said the wet hair look is another key element. I didn't deep dive into that because I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. They said mermaid-inspired manicures. So this is like scaly-looking patterns, textures, seashells on your nails. The next they said textured jewelry, and they specifically said moonstones, which I think is so interesting because you would think aquamarine would be one, or like a pearl, but they said moonstone, and moonstone came up so much. And last week's episode, we actually talked about moonstone, so go back and listen. You can learn about it. They also said textured metals, mimicking salt-worn rocks, antique lockets, or charms. They said dark elemental edge, and they said that this trend is about channeling your inner sea siren, embracing the power and mystery of the ocean through beauty and style. Now, we're going to call this next source maybe like 2.5, because it was technically Google AI again. But this time, I typed in a full question. I typed in, what is the sea witchery trend in 2025? And it was pretty similar, but it did add like a couple extra words that I thought would be fun to just talk about. So they said that this is a beauty and fashion aesthetic that blends coastal mysticism with a darker elemental edge, draws inspiration from oceanic folklore and ancient spiritual practices. It's characterized by sultry siren makeup, wet wavy hair, and moody mermaid manicures with a focus on the raw weathered beauty of the sea. Pretty similar, it's just instead of saying it's like a beauty trend, this added like a fashion trend. Now, key characteristics aren't necessarily the same. They said dark and moody colors, deep blues, green, purples, and blacks. They said wet hair look, but they added slightly tousled. Then they actually gave sultry siren makeup. They said that sultry siren makeup is dark, smoky eye makeup with bold liner and nude or slightly flushed lip. And that's so different from everything else we've been told to use a darker lip. But yeah, when I think of siren makeup, I think of eyeliner on the eyes. They said mermaid manis, which is like the same exact thing. Organic and textured jewelry, that's pretty much the same. They said coastal mysticism draws inspiration from mythical figures like Greek sirens and Norse sea goddesses, reflecting the sea's mysterious and untamed nature. That's different. We never talked about Norse in the other ones. But also, who are some Norse sea goddesses? I didn't write that down, and I feel like that'd be really cool to deep dive into a little bit of. So, editing Meg. So, the most popular sea goddess is Ran. I think that's how you pronounce her name. She's associated with the sea, storms, fishing nets, and it is said she collects the souls of those who drown at sea. I'm definitely going to mispronounce his name, but she is the wife of a giant Aegir, and they have 9 daughters together who represent personifications of the waves. Thank you for that. And for this one, it said that, in essence, embracing the raw, untamed beauty of the sea, both in your personal style and in your aesthetic choices. It's a blend of mystic, mystery, and a touch of the supernatural, all while staying grounded in the natured world. And I personally really liked that closing better than Sea Witch Trend, which is kind of weird, but also like makes sense. When you make your things into full sentences, you'll get different results. But that's going to lead us into this week's episode of Deep or Dumb, so cue the music here. Welcome to Deep or Dumb, the thought spiral we're all about to go on. This week is pretty basic, pretty simple. Do we think sea witchery trend is deep or dumb? I'm on the fence. I feel like every single episode, this is the 7th episode this season where we've done deep or dumb. I think I've said deep to every single episode. I think I'm leaning towards the dumb side. Mostly because I don't like how it's taking inspiration from spiritual practices. That's giving kind of like, what's it called? Oh no, what's it called? I don't want to say culture appropriation, but I think that's the word we're going to go with because I can't think of what I'm talking about. Like, I feel like that is not appreciating the spiritual practices of people. I don't know. It's feeling more like using and abusing to me. So I'm going to actually say see witchery is dumb. I can't believe I'm saying that. Usually I'm like, oh, it's so deep. It's this, that. But no, I'm not a fan of this trend for the sole reasoning that it's, I don't know. There's something that kind of makes me uncomfortable about the whole spiritual aspect. I think in essence, like overall, I think it could be like a fun thing. Like I do like the mermaid inspired part of it. And I do like this whole embracing your inner siren, kind of like almost embracing your inner badass, your inner goddess. I do like that aspect of it. I think that aspect is deep, but I just don't think, I think it's too new. That's the issue. But let me know on Instagram if you think if sea witchery is deep or dumb. So, the next time you're scrolling on social media and you're seeing sea witchery, just know it might just be here for this summer. It might come back next summer, or it honestly might not even be a thing at all because right now, there's not that much out there on it. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Hey Guys, it's Meg. You can follow Hey Guys, it's Meg _podcast on Instagram for updates and good times. Come back next Monday at 9 a.m. where we're going to talk about some summer 2025 trends. I'll see you on the flip side. Peace out, Girl Scouts.